Ayu-Chintana aims to find the narrative technique of systematic writing sequence of the science Ayurveda. To realize its specific nature, one must study and practice at the same time. Thus, we shall realize how practically the Tantra has been written. Taking the blessings of Bhagavan Ganesha, here we start our second episode of Shloka Vyakhyana, a step-to-step guide for shloka presentation. Here I am with you, Vd.Anagha.H.A, second year PG scholar from STMCAH, Hassan. In the previous episode, we had learnt about the contents, that is the main guideline of Shloka Vyakhyana. It comprises of three parts: Vakyashaha, artha-vyākhyāna and vakyartha-shaha. And each of these components will have three or more headings under them. So under Vakyashaha, that's the first one, we have three headings: Shloka, Adhikarana and Prakarana. In the present episode, it's the current episode, we will take up in detail about as to what is Shloka, how to identify a Shloka, what are all the components that make up the Shloka, are there any varieties in the Shloka, and each of these Samhita, do they have their own structure of writing a Shloka. Okay, let's move on. How Samhitas are composed? See, though the Samhitas are written in Sanskrita language only, and particularly in the Sambhashana Samskrita way, it doesn't defy any rule of the grammatical aspect. So if at all it is following the grammatical aspect every time, then it will have been composed in three ways. Either it would contain only the Padya form, that's the poem form, or only the Gadya form, a paragraph kind of. Then it can also be Champu, which is a mixed variety. So what's a Padya? Let's take an example. So here I have considered an example from Caraka Sutra 2 bar 15. That is Tanyupasthita doshanam sneha svedopapadanaihi panchakarmani kurvita matra kalau vicharayan. So as you can see here, this shloka, that means to say, how do you identify this as a Padya? It ends, the first line ends with a single danda and the second line ends with a double danda. That means to say, it has two major parts to it, the first line and the second line. And what is the uniqueness of this? Each of these lines will have exactly same number of aksharas. Only then it will be considered as a Padya form. Okay. Next, let's take an example of a Gadya. How is it different from Padya? Okay. Here we don't see a single line and a double line, right? We only see a double line. That's the first remarkable identity. Second, it will be written like a paragraph. That means to say, starting from Yatha until it ends in Prashanti Mapadyate, you have to read it in a continuous way. There is no pause at all. Though there are comma which are given by the editor for better understanding, when you are chanting it, you are not supposed to give a pause anywhere. That is starting from Yatha to Prashanti Mapadyate, it is a single paragraph. So there are no single danda and double danda. Secondly, there is no pause in the middle. It will be written like a paragraph. So some chapters in Samhitas would have only Padyas. In some chapters there will be Gadya, only Gadya. Like for example, Vatakalakali Adhyaya, Upakalpani Adhyaya. Majorly it has only the Gadya Bhaga. Here and there, like only one shloka there. So then what is the right variety of composing a text? Majorly what we can see in Charaka Samhita, it is Champu variety. Because Charaka Samhita has both Gadya and Padya in it. In almost all chapters, you will see at least one Padya and one Gadya, right? So example, in Apamarga Tanduliya Adhyaya, majorly we have shlokas only. Starting from the Shiro Virechaniya Gana, then the Vamana part, Virechana, then Basti Dravyas, then we come into the Panchakarma aspect, then also there is Yavagu preparations, finally the Bhavanti Chatra Shloka. The whole part is in Padya format only. but in Gadya format, majorly in Vātakala-Kaliya-adhyaya. Then Champu. So if you can remember the Matra Shitiya Adhyaya, that is Charaka Sutra 5th chapter, it starts with Matra Shi Syat Agni Bala Pekshini. It also says about how the Matra Ashana has to be there, Guru Laghu. All of these are composed in Gadya format. Whereas the Nitya Sevaniya Dravya, from there on, all the Dinacharya part has been composed in Padya form, that is the Shloka, single danda, double danda variety. So this combination where it is there, that is called as Champu variety. So Charaka Samhita is originally written in Champu variety. So let's take the example here. This is from Charaka Sutra 5 only. So Matravad Yashanam Ashitam Anupahatya Pragratim Balavarna Sukhayusha Yojayati Upayoktaram Avashyam iti. So this part is a Gadya, whereas the very next part, that is Bhavanti Chatra Shloka, Guru Pishtamayam Tasma Tandulan Pruthukan Najatu Bhuktavan Khaden Matram Khaded Bhubukshitaha. This is written in a Padya form. That means to say this first line has exactly same number of letters as the second line. So most times a Vyakhyana is needed for the Shloka. So what's a Vyakhyana? Vyakhyana is a detailed study. That means to say a shloka, when it is given, when it is composed, generally it will be in a puzzle format. So that puzzle you have to break it down and form it into a particular sentence, a meaningful sentence. Only from then on you can derive the meaning out of it. So this is generally needed for a shloka. Whereas Gadya will already be written in an understandable format only. Generally, rarely, like exceptional cases, you may need to do the Vyakhyana even for a Gadya kind of a shloka. Okay. Next, let's explore few shlokas then. This shloka, that is Guru Pishtamayam Tasma Tandulan Pruthakanapi Najatu Bhuktavan Kaden Matram Khaded Bubukshitaha. As I said earlier, this is having exactly same number of letters in the first line and the second line. That is, total number of letters is 16. Okay. So this shloka, entire shloka, that means to say a shloka will have two lines ended. First line ends with a single danda, second line ends with a double danda. Each will have 16 letters for this example. It might have 20 letters, it might have 28 letters, it might have 48 letters, like that. There are many kinds of shlokas as well. Let's explore in the further few slides. So this particular shloka totally has 32 letters and each line has 16 letters exactly. So let's take the example. The first shloka here, Aragvadaha Saida Gajah Karanjo Vasa Guduchi Madanam Haridre Shraiva Surahva Khadirodhavascha Nimbo Vidangam Karavirakattvak. So if you were to calculate the number of letters in each of these lines, though the first rule is correct, that is, first rule has been followed even in this, right? That is, number of letters in the first line is equal to number of letters in the second line. But does it have only 16 letters in each line? No. This has 22 letters. So the first line also has 22 letters, second line also has 22 letters. That means to say there is a particular rhythm, in a particular fashion, a shloka has been composed. It is not always the rule of 16 letters in each line. So it could also be 22 lines, but exactly the same number of letters in first and second line. So what is the next step? Okay, you identified that this is a shloka. You also identified the number of letters in it. So what do we do further then? Okay, so here we count for the next shloka as well. That is also 22 letters. Okay, so what do we do now? We need to identify what kind of aksharas are there in each of these lines. So how do we demarcate or designate each of the aksharas? We designate it in a way called Guru and Laghu. So what is a Guru and Laghu? Guru and Laghu are basically the identity marks of the meter that is there exactly in the one particular akshara. So how do you designate a Laghu identification? You identify it with U mark, whereas the Guru is identified with a horizontal line mark. So let's designate this. So how do you think we can designate this? That akshara which takes up 2 matra kalas for its pronunciation will be called Guru, whereas that takes only 1 matra kala will be designated with U, that is Laghu. Aragvadaha, the whole line will be designated in this way, whereas the next shloka, Drishtvanubandham Pavanat Kapasya, until the Vikalpyaha, will also be designated in a certain way. Now compare these two. Okay, the first lines of each of these ganas, are they same? First, let's check with the the marked thing in the red. That is for the first shloka. So it is Guru Guru Laghu, Guru Guru Laghu, Laghu Guru Laghu, Guru Guru. Then the second part also from Vasa, it starts with Guru Guru Laghu, Guru Guru Laghu, Laghu Guru Laghu, and Guru Guru. So the first, the whole one line, as you can see here, you need to first divide it into two equal parts. The whole shloka is divided into two lines, and each of the line is divided into a pada. So what does one shloka contain of? One shloka contains of two lines, and those two lines are divided into four padas. So basically a shloka contains four padas. That is equal number of letters in each pada. So if you were to divide like this, 22 letters if it is there in a line, then pada takes up 11 plus 11. So that is why I have given 11 letters separately designation and another 11 letters separately designated. So then further, how do we do this? We need to divide the whole of the pada into gana format. What is a gana? A gana is a group of three letters, three aksharas. So here I am dividing it as Aragva, Dahasaida, Gajahaka, Ranjo. So these make up the 11 letters. You may ask me the question, why did you not consider Va also? So it comes to the next pada, right? It is 11 plus 11, 11 plus 11. So you need to stop at 11 only. Again you have to start counting into 3. So Vasa Gu will have 3. Du Chi Ma will have 3. The Nam Ha will have 3. And Ri and Dre will have 2. So 11 will be divided as 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2. So let's revise once again. Each of the shloka, how do you recognize it? You will recognize it by counting that it has a single danda and a double danda. And in each of these lines, it should have same number of letters. And each of the line will have two padas. And each of the pada also should have same number of letters, equal number of letters. Then each of the pada will be designated with laghu or guru. Then it will be designated with the ganas. Okay, let's see what kind of ganas in the further slides, as it is a little difficult, or rather than difficult, it is a level up in the learning process. First we will satisfy these rules, understand these rules thoroughly, and then go to the gana aspect. So Aragva will have Guru, Guru and Laghu. So A is a Guru because it is A, right? A plus A is A. So it has Dvimatra Kala. While Ra, you may ask me the question, why it is Guru? Because the next letter, succeeding letter is a Samyukta Akshara. So when there is a Samyukta Akshara, that is G, half G plus Va is a Samyukta Akshara. Combination of two letters. So that is why the previous one takes a Guru, while that letter which is Samyukta Akshara, if it is ending with a Hrisva, then it takes a Laghu. So this you can detailedly see in one of the YouTube channels, wonderful YouTube channels, that is Vyoma, where each of these chandas are explained separately. I am not going into the depths of each of these chandas. You can learn it from a Sanskrit textbook, or you can also view from other YouTube channels where you are learning about this. So okay, let's go further. In each of these pada that is marked in the red, do you think that there are equal number of designations, equal way of designating it? Yes. That means to say it follows same pattern of the meter or the rhythm fixed to it. Let's check with the second shloka as well. Drishtvanu, Bandhampa, Vanatka, Pha and Syar to Guru. This is 11 letters over. Then again, Pittasya, Vasneha, Vidhirvi, Kalpyaha. So this will also form 11 letters. So likewise, for a 44 letter shloka, you will divide it as two lines, 22, 22, and each of these lines with a 22 letter will be divided into half, that is 11 plus 11, and each of these 11 will be divided into 3, 3, 3 and 2, because the ganas will have to have 3 letters as a group. Okay. So Aragvadaha is one pada, Vaso Guduchi Madanam Haridre is one more pada. Likewise, Drishtvanubandham Bhavanat Kaphasya is one pada. Pittasya va Sneha Vidhir Vikalpyaha is one more pada. Let's see one more shloka. So in the previous, we have understood that the whole line, though there are two padas, each of the two padas is having same kind of designations. But here you see, is it the same? Nikumbha kumbha triphalagavakshi snukshankhini nilini tilvakani. This shloka is particularly from Ashtanga Hridaya Sutra 15th chapter. So here, this is a virechana gana, where you are recognizing that ni is laghu, whereas that is the starting of the pada is starting with a laghu. But the next pada, snukshankhini, is starting with a guru. So it is the two padas are not in the same meter, same pattern. So what is this then? This is really different than the previous thing that we did, right? So how do we do this? Nikumbha is one gana, kumbhatri is one more, phalaga is one more, vakshi is one more, snukshankhini, nilini tilvakani is one more. So how do we understand this in a better way? So let's divide all of this. So how do we understand this further? In the previous slide that we understood, each of the pada is in the same meter. But here we are recognizing it's in a different meter. So what is this meter then? Meter means to say it is a particular rule or a fashion in which a shloka has to be composed. And this rule is called as chandas. And chandas are of many types, mainly the akshara chanda and the matra chanda. Let's not get into the details of it. First, we need to understand only the aksharas. That means to say, on basis of each of the syllables that are there, you will recognize the aksharas and their particular guru and laghu demarcation. So, a 44 aksharas containing a shloka is called as Trishtub. Okay, so there is one particular chandas called as Trishtub. In that, there could be many varieties, like 11, 11, 11, 11. It could be Indra Vajra Chandas, Upendra Vajra Chandas, or many others as well. So when there is a particular line which both the padas or all the four padas have same kind of designations, will either fall into Indra Vajra variety or Upendra Vajra variety. One is Ta-ta-ja, other is designated as Ja-ta-ja. But here we can understand that it is of two varieties. That first pada is starting with a laghu, whereas the second pada is starting with a guru. So this is called as combination chandas, that is upajati. So how many types of upajatis are there? There are totally 14 types of upajati. That means to say the first pada could be Indra Vajra, second could be Upendra Vajra. And third could be Indra Vajra, fourth could be Upendra Vajra. But there could be another variety, right? The whole opposite of it. First and third is Upendra Vajra, whereas second and fourth is Indra Vajra. Or it could also be 1, 2, 3 is Indra Vajra, fourth is Upendra Vajra. Or 1, 2, 3 is Upendra Vajra, fourth one is Indra Vajra. Likewise, 14 combinations out of this can be done. Okay. Let's move further with one more example. Here as you see, the number of letters in each line is 28. So until now we have taken example of 16 letter line, 22 letter line, and now we gear up into the next level, that is 28 level line. So now can you tell me how many number of aksharas do make up one pada? Because one pada is exactly the equal number of letters, two equal parts of a single line. If this whole line is having 28 letters, each of the pada will have, yes, right, it would be 14 letters. So 14 letters, how do you make up into a gana then? Because each gana should have 3 letters as a group. So 14 can be divided as 12 plus 2. That is 3 4s are 12. 4 groups of 3 and 2 extra. That is 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2. So here from the example we can understand that Aragva is one, Dhendraya is one more, Vapata is one more gana, Likaka is one more gana, Tik and Kta is the ending guru. That means to say the last letters of a pada will always carry guru mark over it. So how do you, okay, my primary question is why do we even have to take so much of effort to designate this with a guru laghu and divide it into gana? Because it will help us in chanting it in a certain way, right? If it is having 16 letters in a line, you will be chanting it as How do you, like, let's take one example. Guru Pishtamayam Tandula. We had taken one example right here before. So let's go back to this slide. So, Guru Pishtamayam Tasmat Tandulan Pruthakanapi Najatu Bhuktavan Khaden Matram Khadet Bubhukshitaha. This is how you chant it. Whereas the further shlokas, like for the example, the 22 lines shloka, how will we pronouncing it? Do we pronounce it in the same way? Nikumbha Kumbha Triphala. No, it is over. So how do you chant it? Nikumbha Kumbha Triphala Gavakshi. This will tell us where to take a pause, where not to take a pause. Likewise, the 28 line shloka also will have a certain pattern to it for its composition as well as pronunciation. Aragvadhendrayava patalika katikta nimbamrita madhura sasrava vriksha patah bhunimbasairya katapota karanja yugma saptachadagni sushavi phalabana ghonta. This is how you will pronounce it. So once you make up the padas and the ganas and the designation, you will know exactly where to pause and where not to pause. Okay. So this chandas is Vasanta Tilaka, right? Aragvadhendra eva patalika katikta stands in the Vasanta Tilaka chandas. So it is not that you have to learn only those chandas which are particularly there in the Samhita. You can create your own shlokas. So this shloka is one of the examples from my work called Charaka Pathanugamanam. So in that, this was composed for the Charaka Jayanti celebrations. Okay, so I followed the rule of Aragvadhendra Yava Patalika Katikta, kept it as an example, and I designated it with Guru and Laghu. Then I also gave it the name for the Gana. So you can refer back to any of the Sanskrit books where they have mentioned about Yamata Raja Bhana Salagam. So they would be giving one Gana, that is group of 3 letters, a name. So where there is a combination of Guru Guru Laghu, it would be Tagana. Or where there is a combination of Guru Laghu Laghu, it would be Bhagana. And Jagana would be U-U, that is Laghu Guru Laghu. Likewise, there are many combinations. So particularly fixing it into the Aragvadhendra Eva Patalika Katikta, I composed one more shloka. So let's see whether it follows the pattern or it doesn't follow the pattern. So how did you pronounce the Aragvadhendra shloka? Aragvadhendra Yava Patalika Katikta. So the next shloka should also follow it. Shall we try to pronounce it? Bhutanukampanirata tanurogaharta Vedaditantra samata bahubhischa gnata Bhaishadya yojana para chatushka karta Swasthyadirakshana vidher manujasya trata. So did it follow the shloka? I hope you can follow how the rules are made right now. I hope so. Because that is why I have given the Guru marked all in the blue vertical boxes. And Laghus are in white boxes. So once you do this, a table is written. You will be very, very clear. There will be no confusion left for you in which rule it has to follow. That is Guru or Laghu. Likewise, you can also compose your own shlokas. If you have good vocabulary and the right emotion put into the particular theme that you have selected, definitely you can create the shlokas and keep it as formulas for further understanding. Okay. So how can we divide or categorize the chandas? 1. By meter. That is, Anushtup chandas will have 32 syllables in total. That is, each pada will have 8 syllables, 16 in one line. Trishtub is, as I had told before, 44 syllables. So common in Vedic hymns. Then Jagati is one more which has 48 syllables. Then Vasanta Tilaka, Mandakranta, Sragdhara, Shardula Vikridita, Indra Vajra, Upendra Vajra, Malini, Upajati, etc. are used in Kavya, Shastra plays. These are many types of chandases, that the names that I am giving to you. You can refer it back in the particular textbooks. Also, you can divide the shloka by content. Shlokas are also classified by the subject matter. So, for example, we can take 5 kinds of shlokas. Stotra shloka, Kanakadhara stotra, Narasimha stotra, Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama. Then comes Niti Shlokas, moral or max verses. So from the Hitopadesha, Arthashastra, Chanakya Niti. Then Kavya Shlokas from Harshadhara Charita or Kalidasa's Abhignana Shakuntala works, like that. Then Shastra Shlokas, that is from Charaka Samhita, Nyaya Sutras, Vaisheshika Darshana Sutras, or Ashtanga Sangraha for that matter. Then Smriti Shlokas. So these can be studied from the literature, that is Manusmriti, Yajnavalkya Smriti, Parashara Smriti, Naradiya Smriti, like this. So how do you think Samhitas composed the shloka? Yes, of course, they followed by meter, they also followed by the content, but also there is a particular fashion in which Ayurveda science needs it, right? So Charaka Samhita was composed in the way of Hetulinga and Aushadha. That is, Trisutra way it has been followed. So each of the shlokas that are studied in Charaka Samhita either fall into the category of Hetu Sutra, Linga Sutra or Aushadha Sutra, or they could be combination of these. Or it could be Shat Karana Dravya, Samanya Vishesha Guna Dravya Karma and Samavaya. So the shlokas will have the content of Shat Karana Dravya. Then I would recommend you two textbooks to go with, Chendo Manjari and Chendo Vallari. These are very good textbooks for learning Chandas. So it gives a list of Akshara and Matra Chandas, also with English explanation. So it's better to understand. And of course, you should not just study them, you have to practice them by hand. So a nice exercise is to practice the shlokas of 15th Adhyaya of Ashtanga Hridaya Samhita. So what's the uniqueness of this is, in the commentary, that is in the Tika Bhaga, at the end of the Tika Bhaga, they have mentioned in which this shloka is relating to particular chandas, in which particular chandas. Or they could be giving you the formula of the chandas as well. So either the name of the chandas directly or the formula to it or the sutra to it. So by this you can understand, you can divide it into lines, you can divide it into the ganas and padas. Then you have to cross verify whether you have done the job right or not. Then how does Suśruta Samhita is composing the shloka? Suśruta Samhita stands on something called as Bija Chatushtaya. It has 4 parts to it. So each of the shloka or the content that is present in the Suśruta Samhita will fall into the category of Bija Chatushtaya, either of them or a combination of them. So what are those Bija Chatushtaya? It could be Purusha, Vyadhi, Aushadha or Kriyakala. So in general, how do you study anything? When do you understand that whatever you have studied is yours now? Right? So the knowledge that is there in the book remains in the book. Whatever comes to your experience is yours, right? Because experience is more knowledgeable than mere the theoretical knowledge. So how do you divide the stratas of learning process? It is 4. That is from the Patadhatu, it's 4. This comes from Dalhana Tika of the Suśruta Samhita first chapter. It is Pathe, that is learning, studying. Artha-gnane, understanding the meaning, thorough, depth knowledge. Karma darshani, while applying it. And abhyase, punaravartana, that is abhyasa satata anushilana. That means to say you have to steady practice, learn from the practice, gain the experience, again go back to the Samhita, learn the shloka and put it into practice. This whole process, Pata Avabodha Anushtana, as Ashtanga Hridaya says, you must continuously do to get the mastery over identifying the shloka, identifying the components of the shloka and which type of shloka it is, what it is trying to say. Because see, we have marked 3 levels for Vyakhyana, and among the 3 levels also there are 3 subheadings to each of them, right? So in those subheadings we have covered only one part of it today. So just think how much more we have to learn, right? It doesn't stop here. The study doesn't stop here. So whatever we have done today is only about shloka. Next we will have anvaya, artha-anvaya, all of those components, the adhikarana component, prakaraṇa component. So all of this if you have to learn, first you need to identify what is a shloka. So that we have covered today. I hope you have understood this. Let's revise once again. So how do you, what are the kinds of shloka that we can have? Padya, Gadya and Champu. So in Padya it is only single danda, double danda and equal number of letters in each pada. Then Gadya could be a paragraph. Champu variety is mixture of these two. So how do you identify the shloka? Equal number of letters in each line, and each line can be divided into 2 padas. So totally a shloka will have 4 padas. Each pada will have equal number of letters, and equal number of letters will be further categorized into ganas. Each of these ganas will have 3 letters in it. So if at all it's an odd number chandas and a pada, it would be 3, 3, 3 plus 2. For example, in Indra Vajra chandas, which has 11 letters in each pada. So after that, you will also designate with a particular guru and laghu mark, which will tell you about which gana this pada fits into. So this will totally compose the chandas. I hope you understood this very well. So until the next episode, keep practicing. Go back to samhitas. Don't stop it here, because just viewing this episode will not fetch you much knowledge. Whatever is given is a nutshell. So you have to go back to samhitas and practice by yourself. Let's get back and continue our knowledge learning in the next episode. So what did we cover today? Today we covered only the shloka part. Dhanyavadaha.